It's my pleasure to have you in our program today. Remember, this is KTS and this is our favorite show, the Straight Talk program. I'm your host, Regina Olado, and with me in the show today are two pretty ladies. On my immediate right is Phenny, a HIV activist, a lady that has come up boldly to state her HIV status with an aim of sensitizing the society on freeing people living with HIV. And of course, on the other hand is Mrs. Eunice Magoe, a professional psychological counselor. So today we are going to explore Phenny's story. She's been a celeb for the last few days, and we just want to hear her story, and of course also get the professional point of view, in as much as we are dealing with those who are living with HIV and AIDS. So stay tuned to the program. And of course, this has been a political show, but today we are taking a break for politics. So stay there. Phenny, thank you so much. Thank you so much, beautiful ladies, for honoring our call to the show. Phenny, karibu sana.
Asante.
Yeah. So kindly tell us, when did you realize about your HIV status?
So I realized my HIV status while I was in Form 2. I was at Asumbi Girls High School.
Okay.
At first, there are some organizations that came for a blood drive donation, and then I love food so much, Regina, so I went for the food, for the biscuit and soda at first, because after donating blood will be given the soda and biscuit. Then I went for it. And then on the second term, blood donation. And then on the third term, another organization came for HIV testing. It was like, and they were giving people soda and bread. And I'm like, wow, this is mysterious. People are just being given things to breathe from tree. Why not go for this test again? I was not sexually active. I was a virgin at the moment. And then I thought to myself, obviously I'm going to turn out negative, so I'm just going to gain. They will lose either way. So I went for the test, and I remember the pre-counseling wasn't that pre-counseling. I was told that I was asked by the counselor, do you have a boyfriend? And then I told the counselor, no, I don't have a boyfriend. Okay, are you able to interpret your results? That's when, after learning that single line is negative, double line is positive from her. So I told her, yeah, why not? I was in a rush to get my soda and bread. So then she tested me, and then after some 5 minutes, barely 5 minutes, it was a room full of several counselors. I think they were in conversation for some data collection or something. So after 5 minutes, she told me, you said you don't have a boyfriend. I'm like, yeah, I don't have a boyfriend, so interpret your results. Then she took the kids and slipped them through my face. In front of me were double line. I'm positive. So are you able to interpret? Can you remember what I told you? Yes. You said you don't have a boyfriend, she repeated. Yes, I did. Okay, you're HIV positive.
So that was the counseling part of it?
Yes, that was post-counseling. And I was told I'm HIV positive, and then they always took some writing. So they did a writing, then they put it positive, and some number for people, I think per test done. Then I walked away. I walked out, and hapo tu mbele ya mlango, it was a register. You need to register, and then you are given soda and bread. So I registered. Then I got my soda. I remember it was Fanta Dogo and bread. You share bread. It was full bread. Then you share with the half with the other person following you. I took my half bread and soda, and that classroom I can't forget. It was just behind the assembly ground at Asumbi Girls. So what I did, I went right in front of Asumbi Girls assembly ground. That is where the principal always stands and everyone. So it's something like KICC for you, yeah. It was some rooftop like KICC. So I went there and stood, and then now it was hitting me. I'm HIV positive. That was real. What I saw in that room is real. What I'm carrying in this paper is real. And there's nothing I can do about it. My world was so small. I I am HIV positive. That is something that I dreaded, and finally it came. I would look at these people who are HIV positive from the rumors I had. I would not even share plates with them while I was the biggest stigmatizer in our society at that tender age. So, and then I remember sharing with some friend a while back that I knew HIV is for some people, you know. Yeah, that
didn't know that.
Yeah, it would really come to me.
Actually,
actually, it can come to me. I knew that HIV is for some people. I never knew it would really come to me. So these are some of the things that were going through my mind when I found out my status. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Phenny. Let me bring you in, Eunice, as a professional counselor. You've heard what she said, that she wasn't really given a pre-counseling, good pre-counseling. She was just told that here's your results. So, I mean, at that point, you really have to deal with it, or you fail to deal with it. So, as a counselor, do you think this is a point where most counselors get it wrong in terms of just passing the message that, you know what, you have this condition?
Yeah, thank you very much, Regina. Yeah, and also I want to applaud Phenny. There are very few girls of your nature who've come to this extent, and I would really appreciate, because you are someone's role model in this scenario. So basically, it's a pity that you had to go through that at that given moment. And I'm just looking at this. Maybe it's a lab technician. Probably they were just out to get a blood test. And,
I remember it was my school nurse.
Yeah, it was a school nurse.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining probably there was maybe lack of professionalism, but I'm also looking at it from the perspective that normally when we're young we have that excitement. The way you just talked, that sometimes you feel that akiongea atakuwa na waste time. So maybe she didn't expect it, since you were also a virgin. Probably there are things sometimes you overlook, but it's good that today we are learning.
And maybe she thought that she was lying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so probably
because high school girls are mischievous.
Yes, yeah. So probably she also took it in that perspective. But I'm also sorry that it happened the way it did. But there was also that process of internalizing things, and that is basically what you did. When you give information, sometimes it hits you and you're like, no, it can't be. And then when you are now seated, you start thinking inside yourself, you're internalizing, is it really true? And how did it happen? You start having those questions. We call it denial. At that stage, we are calling it denial, because you're really trying to do a bit of reflection, and reality is not the right thing at that moment. You really don't want it to be true. You want it to be false. So basically, you are going through that stretch, and I think they asked you questions. You gave answers. That is part of brief counseling. We call it crisis counseling. So crisis counseling, sometimes you don't have time to go through a lot of in-depth sessions, but you are asked, have you ever exposed yourself to HIV? That's part of counseling. Exposed is by having sex, or do you have a partner? So basically, if maybe you would have said that related maybe sexually, they would have gone to that extent of now exploring more. But the counselor thought that if you're not maybe exposed to yourself, probably you might not be positive. But it just happens that you had to be positive at that time, and the stages you went through are normal after you've been told that information. After you've been told, some even go to pastors, and maybe it's just a spirit. You go to different doctors and want to know more. Is it really true? It's called denial.
So thank you so much for that, Eunice. Phenny, let's talk about what Eunice has mentioned, the how part of it.
Yeah.
How did I get it? How did I contract this condition? So when you realize that now, this is now the reality that I have to cope up with, what was your reaction? Did you go to your parents and ask them, hey, I'm told I'm HIV positive, can you tell me how it happened? So,
first of all, my parents passed on long ago. My dad passed on when I was 5, my mom when I was 10, so that was out of question. I had to two main guardians at the moment. I had my uncle who was paying my fees, but was not really there, like visiting and all that. And I had my big sister who was forever there, and plus my siblings who would make turns in coming and visiting me. So these were people that I held accountable for me being HIV positive at that time. I was like, these people betrayed me, you know. How could they? I'm the last born in a family of 6, and I just wanted answers from them, from my siblings. So then what I did was I went to my best friend, and then I told him I told her about my status, and then she spread it to the whole school. That is where I am. That is why I am here right now. Stigma. Anyway, so after my best friend told the whole school about my status, I had to go to someone else. I went to my counseling teacher. Though the counseling club was not that active, I had to somehow go to a person to talk to apart from my age mate. So I went to the counseling teacher, and she suggested that why not give your sister a call and let her explain how this thing happened. So then we called my sister, and my sister came after 3 days. I remember it was on a Tuesday or Thursday. So after she came, she explained to me that some of my siblings knew about my status, but not all of them. She didn't know about my status. But then she suspected that I was HIV positive from long ago, because I would be sickly. I would have so many issues when I was a child. But then, just like any other child, they just assumed, you know. Yeah, but the people who knew that I was HIV positive told me that I was HIV positive at that time. Yeah, and I had to deal with that. Yes.
So tell me, after you had realized and after you had been told that you were HIV positive, we are talking about stigma. And I know that you are really an ambassador. You are telling people, you know what, let's free the society. Let's free these people.
Yeah.
Let's stop stigmatizing those people who are living with HIV and AIDS. So how was the reaction? Did you have to deal with the stigma part of it at the point of the teachers, your fellow students? How was it?
Wow, stigma. Stigma for me was everything. I would not perform so well in school, but I remember I would top 50 in around 200 or 300 class. After the whole HIV thing, and my best friend telling the rest of the friends about my status, I would even go to bottom 20. That was part of the stigma, and the stigma made me perform so poorly in school. I got a C- in school because of stigma. That was one part, and then another part was I detached. Of course, I had new friends now, you know, new cycle, and of course teachers. I was a very naughty girl, but not in terms of being noted by teachers. Like they would not come to class and then start, who is Phenny? Now when they came to class, especially the maths teacher, that where is Phenny waiting? And there was a backbench. I knew there was a very, very big problem. This was part of stigma that I was going through. And then I remember my best friend telling me, I was a very careless girl when I was in high school. I still am. So I remember my best friend telling me that I should give her back her blanket, because the moment I discovered I was HIV positive, these rashes began swelling in my ears. I had some infections from my ears, my legs. So she said that I would infect her. I should return the blanket to her, and she's going to throw it away. She's going to either dump it in the pit latrine or burn it down. That was stigma for me.
Did you forgive her?
I forgave her. We talk. I think she has a child right now. I just missed the whole baby thing because I was busy nursing my breakup last year. But then we talk. In other words, yeah, I forgave her. Yes.
Thanks for forgiving her. Phyllis, let me bring you in. She has mentioned about her friend telling her, you know what, give me my blanket, but I'll throw it away. What are some of the misconceptions about HIV and AIDS in our society?
Yeah. We have a lot of misconception in the society about HIV. One is when someone is HIV, you cannot share a cup. One, we cannot, two, we cannot share clothing. When you are HIV positive, you are an irresponsible person. This person behaves irresponsibly, that is why they are infected. We also have people who think that when someone turns HIV, that person seems to be a curse. That is culturally, they look at it as a curse. And there's a lot of beliefs attached to HIV as a disease at the moment.
Okay. Yeah. And where are we in terms of stigmatizing people living with HIV and AIDS?
Okay, basically at the moment we are trying to sensitize the community in terms of HIV. One, we are also helping them understand that there are various modes of transmission of HIV. HIV is just not a curse. We are trying to let them understand HIV as a disease. That yes, HIV is real, HIV is there, HIV is a virus, and people living with HIV can live positively as any other person. Basically, we are making them understand that one of the modes of transmission is maybe through blood, maybe an infected blood. Someone has an accident and you go to that accident site trying to save someone. You have a cut, you're not aware, you hold this person. Tomorrow, after 3 or 4 months down the line, you turn out to be HIV positive. You are not sexually active, but you turned HIV positive. Another mode of transmission is mother to child during delivery and also pregnancy. And that is why we are also motivating mothers, when you find out that you are expectant, go to hospital, have yourself checked, so that you are started on medication on time, you prevent mother-to-child infection.
Okay. Wow. So, Phenny,
Yeah.
I understand that you have 2 very beautiful girls.
Yes, I do.
How did it happen with your status?
Wow. So I have 2 beautiful girls. Emanuela Faraj is 2 years 6 months.
Okay.
Faraj Hadimori is 1 year 4 months. So when I kept on preaching my gospel on being HIV positive even after high school. So when I met the baby daddy, I told him that I'm HIV positive, and he was negative, and he accepted me positive.
Wow.
So yeah, we gave birth to 2 beautiful kids. This was the process. I did not know anything. I did not believe in any biology of I don't know, adherence and ARVs. That was just like being convinced and being consoled that, you know what, yeah, just have a positive living and all. So then we went to a counselor where I was taking my ARVs, and then we were told one-on-one that if you adhere well to your drugs, your viral load is the amount of virus in the body, would be suppressed. And when they are suppressed, then it's called undetectable. When you have a viral load that is undetectable, you cannot infect your child and you can't infect your partner. Chances are very, very minimal. So when I conceived and then gave birth to my kids, we were put on something called syrup, some syrup called nevirapine and Septrin. At that time, I hear these days the Zidovudin, Lavivudin.
Yeah, it's the same for children. It's the same.
Yeah. So in my days, we had syrup, we had nevirapine and Septrin. So that is what I introduced my children to from the word go. I remember being told that the moment you give birth to that child, even if the midwife would be slow to reminding you to giving them the meds, give them after 1 hour. Immediately after 1 hour, you give your child the nevirapine. So nevirapine was recommended for 6 weeks. Then after that, I introduced them to Septrin. So they've taken Septrin for 18 months. Ahad is just finishing up on her Septrin. Yes.
So for them, are they HIV free?
Yes, they're HIV negative.
Wow.
Yeah, and I always tell people on the post, there are 4 intense moments when you're going to test for the HIV status at 6 weeks, at 6 months, at 1 year, and 18 months.
For the kids, no?
For the kids, you'd be like, oh my God, how are they? Again, 6 months, you're there. Oh God, that's how are they? Yeah. So these are very intense moments because it's a do or die. yeah, it changes the lives of the kids forever. If they are positive, then it would affect you forever. We know very well it's a stigma-free society, HIV is manageable, but there are facts. You take the drugs forever. You can only imagine if the child started taking the drugs at that tender age. I'm positive. So yeah, I'm so glad I have 2 kids. Very beautiful, and they're HIV negative.
Wow.
That's my joy.
What about their dad? Are you people still together?
No, we are not together with the dad. Reason being, he cheated on me, and I feared, I was avoiding reinfections. There is HIV 1 and HIV 2, so I was trying to avoid that, and we had several disagreements which led to disrespect, and we had to part ways. Yeah.
But at least he accepted you the way you are.
Yes.
Yeah, let me bring you, Eunice in. Let's talk about discordant relationships. Do you think the society believes in this?
Basically, to be on the real or the true side, the society has not really come to terms with the discordance part of it.
Okay.
Why? Because there is that fear. I just want to impress her partner because he is one of the few who really looked at discordance and had that faith that they can make it. Because most of the people feel that they are still unsafe.